He's the youngest man to ever lift 1,000 pounds. In strongman, he's the youngest man. But one of the things you can do to consider yourself an old-time strongman is you bend a 6-inch nail. It's called a 60-penny nail. That's the first top-end thing. That's kind of the opening door to being an old-time professional. That was really, you had to be able to do that to be consider yourself one.
Yeah.
Bent one at 13.
Wow.
Youngest man ever. There's a step up from that, a nail that in that world called the red nail, which I have never seen a human being who didn't train for it bend the 60-penny nail. A red nail is at least double to triple that.
Yeah.
He bent that at 15.
Wow.
Not only did he bend it at 15, he bent it in 6 seconds. He bent a bar called the Goliath bar. Okay, a Goliath bar is 1.5 inches wide. It's a 1/2 inch thick, and it's 4 foot long. It's about 6 pounds of steel. He bent that at 17 years old. And the youngest person ever, there's only been about 10 guys who've ever bent that bar.
Wow.
He bent now this one, you kind of have to know what this means really, but he bent a 6-inch octagonal cold hardened chisel. Like there's literally only 3 or 4 people on the planet who could bend that. He bent that at like 18. Like that piece and some of the other pieces sit in the Physical Culture Museum in Austin, Texas. So in Austin, Texas, the University of Texas, there's a museum there that literally houses basically every book that's ever been written about physical culture or weightlifting of any kind. They have a giant museum. They have the barbells and stuff from the old time original guys. It's just an amazing place. The statues everywhere. It's just crazy. He literally has pieces. The youngest man to ever have stuff inducted there. Youngest man to win, like I said, the sporting clay stuff, that BB gun. So jumping back to that, he could take a quarter and throw it in the air and shoot it out of the air with that BB gun. But then he kept progressing, and he could literally, this is the craziest thing, because we were watching him do it one day, and he's like, watch this. He throws it up. He said, I'm going to hit this in the ear. I'm going to hit George Washington's ear. And sure enough, that's where the dent is when you find the quarter. Or he'd shoot it up and tell you, he's like, oh, no, I hit that on the side. It didn't, like he could literally focus, so hyper-focused to that level to be able to do it. And he progressed from quarters to dimes to aspirin to be able to throw them in the air. And you could do it with either hand, with a BB pistol, with that little rifle. And I actually have footage of him throwing a BB in the air and shooting the BB out of the air with another BB, which is, that's 0.177 of an inch.
Yeah.
So that's literally like just over a millimeter wide. And to be able to hit a moving target in the air 1 millimeter wide with another 1 millimeter projectile is out of the box inhuman. And okay, this isn't dad. This is all provable stuff. This isn't dad bragging on his son. It is, but it isn't. Okay, this is real things. And he had, beyond that, character was above and beyond anything he ever physically did. He had, since he was 6 years old, he wanted to become a deputy sheriff. He wanted to help people. He literally, we found out later, was literally known around the county for the sheriff, for stopping and helping sheriffs during problems and stuff like that. He never said a word to his own parents about this. And like at 18, he becomes the shotgun range manager for what he does. He's been shooting on the sheriff's teams. He shoots with all these military guys. He's recruited by law enforcement agencies all around Florida and across the country, and can't even go to the academy till 21. So one of the other things he wanted is he eventually bought himself a motorcycle, and we were coming home from a family birthday party one day for a friend, and he's just, a lot of people have contentious relationships with their kids, especially in their early teens and 20s and that kind of thing. He was our best friend, and I traveled all over the country with me. He spent every day with her. And not only that, like everybody who ever talked to him talks about how polite he was and how much he helped people. And I'll finish that story and you'll understand more about that in a second, about the helping people thing. Yeah. And he's so committed to that. We're coming home from this birthday party, and he says, well, listen, I'm going to go see my girlfriend, and I'll see you guys later. And he followed us, and the road to her house is a different road. So we turn off, see him turn off. And he said, I'm gonna see her, but I'm gonna be there for about an hour. I'll be back, and I'll we'll do whatever we need to do. And we get a phone call about 2 hours later from the hospital. And literally a minute or two after we left side of each other, a truck swerved directly into him. And it is like a nuclear bomb went off in our life. I mean, I can't I can't, there are not words in me, at least, to explain this. So we get a call from the hospital, and he's seriously hurt. They tell us to come, and we find out what's going on. And actually, a large commercial vehicle literally turned directly into him and hit him head on. We get to the hospital. He never really regained consciousness. He did respond to us, but he never could really completely open his eyes. That's October 2nd on a Monday night. Goes pretty much immediately into the trauma care unit. They do a surgery to relieve some things and to do some other stuff, but then they find out that they can't do some of the things they want to do. We think things are getting better, and then things go downhill, and there's a reaction where your brain, actually from the trauma, the stem of your brain will actually swell, and they can't stop it. And basically that reaction to the rest of the trauma basically takes your life. And so we, at 16, he'd become an organ donor. And he had this conversation with his mom when he went to take his driver's license. Well, what's this? What does that mean? Or, when she tells him, and he said, well, why in the world wouldn't anybody? Why would you want to keep why would I ever keep organs when I could save somebody else's life? So he gets hit about 8, got hit about 8:30. We got a call about 10 p.m. from the hospital on October 2nd. 11 p.m. On October 4th, after several tests and all the things going on, the hospital declares him dead. And a very nice lady, they take you into this weird little room that's the craziest thing, and they tell you what's going on, and they tell you it's over. And we hadn't left the hospital, we hadn't left the bed, we hadn't left the side. We were there every moment. We were there when they turned the machine, everything. And they take you in this room and ask, do you know what your son's wishes about organ donation were? And we say, yes, we do. And what would he like to do? And we said, well, we're going to give a full donation. So we found out about all this stuff as you go, because there's so many things about organ donation and all that stuff that you don't know. And so we gave what's called a full donation, and what he gave, which means they take every organ they can possibly take that can save somebody else. They also take skin and bone, and in doing that, they can do bone grafts, they can do bone marrow, they can do skin transplants, they can do a lot of things. They can do things I didn't even know about. So for instance, that night, they literally jump into action. Like the minute that happens, a series of things start to happen all over the state. And within 30 hours or so, they have set up all the surgeries, they've set up all the other stuff. So that happens at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, 2 a.m. on Friday morning, they do the actual organ donation surgery. And here's where this comes from. So he had planned to pay his own way through the Sheriff's Academy. He had set up to do that. He was 1 month away from starting the Sheriff's Academy. And we were so locked into what was going on. We barely told anybody. We told our immediate family. That's all we even told about what was going on. And the waiting room for a solid week there had like 40, 50 people in it waiting on him in the trauma unit. So we go to leave, and we were walking him in. He's in the bed there. He's surrounded by nurses, and they've got all these machines on the bed. And that basically keeps your body, not your mind, but your body alive until they can literally take the organs to give to other people. And there's so many things they have to do. They have to match, and all this stuff we found out later. And so we go to walk with him, and it's from one side of the hospital where the trauma care is to the surgical area of what's going on. And we come out of the room, and these giant doors open, and we come out of the rooms, and as soon as we turn, there's a hallway with police officers and firefighters and military veterans in uniform standing on either side, who came at 2 o'clock in the morning to walk with him as an honor guard to the last moment. 60 plus people, including our family, and those people came at 2 in the morning just to be there for the last moments. It was enough crowd. It literally stopped the traffic in the hospital, because once we passed, literally every people trying to pass the cross hallways had to stop. And one of us made a comment when we looked back and we got to the surgical center and the doors open and you say your last goodbyes. And then looking behind me, it looks like an army.